will come first. I'm Mariam Gunavijaya. We start off with a look at the headlines.
Basil Rajapaksa quits parliament, says will not re-enter state administration. Electricity trade unions call off strike. All MPs to get new houses, while people continue to stand in line for essentials. Long queues at the passport office.
In your lead story this afternoon, the strike launched by the Ceylon Electricity Board Engineers Association was temporarily suspended after a discussion with the President. Although there were unexpected power outages in many parts of the country after midnight yesterday, it was restored with the decision to suspend the strike.
The Engineers Union decided to go on strike today in protest of a proposed amendment to the Electricity Act to allow power projects to be implemented outside of the competitive tender process. According to the information provided by our correspondents, people in Colombo, Kandy, Trincomalee, Mahianganaya, Hatton, Anuradhapura, Ratmalana, Moratuwa, Nugegoda, Jayal and Dehiwala experienced power outages early morning.
The President spoke to me yesterday and said clearly that the bill will be taken up in the committee stage in Parliament and that we can put forward our proposals. He asked for our proposals and said he will forward them through MP Ramesh Patirana. He said he will hold a meeting with us as well. The clauses in this bill must be amended in a way that it benefits the country. We expect that what the President said will be fulfilled. We planned to create a 24-hour blackout, but we decided not to do that as a mark of respect to what the President discussed with us. We haven't given up. We will wait and see what happens.
දැන් මොකක්ද මේකට ඉදිරියට වෙන්නේ කියන එක.
We are attempting to ensure that there is a continuous supply of electricity. We need $100 million a month in order to provide an uninterrupted power supply. But if you also extend your support for the Act to implement renewable power projects, I believe we will be able to save the $100 million flowing out of the country, the cost and work towards providing an uninterrupted power supply. If we are to cover this cost fully, we will have to increase electricity tariffs by 300 or 400%. But my opinion is instead of increasing prices, we should try and reduce the cost of power generation. If we go in for a tariff hike, the people who set fire to our houses will start setting fire to the houses of many government officers as well. So we shouldn't do that.
Now, Minister of Power and Energy Kanchana Vijayasekara says fuel queues will not end soon as there is an issue in making spot payments for fuel cargoes. Now, there were long queues for fuel today as well.
Queues for fuel are continuing across many parts of Sri Lanka. There were long queues at filling stations in Dambulla that had run out of stocks. Tensions flared at one filling station. Police helped to distribute 6,600 litres of fuel in Hatton. Steps were taken to limit the supply of kerosene. It is said this step was taken as many members of the same family would be in the queue and others would be deprived of the opportunity to buy kerosene. This was the situation at the filling station down Flower Road in Colombo this morning. People have been queuing near the Mahawata filling station in Batapola since last night. However, pumping of fuel was stopped after 10 p.m. after it was announced that the filling station would open at 5 a.m. today. The people in the queues were there until 5 this morning, but the filling station opened at around 6:30 in the morning.
අවස 3 ඉඳන් ඉන්නේ මේ. ඊ අවස 3 ඉඳලා. උදුම කට්ටක් කන්නේ. එපා වෙලා ඉන්නේ. වස ටිකක් දෙන්න නම් ඊට වැඩිය හොඳ. රෑ දෙක රෑ 8 9 ඉඳලා මේ තව මෙතන මෙතන බඩගින්නේ. වැතල දෙබීගෙන මෙතන දඟලන්නේ අපි. ඊ රාට ගාම බත් එක මේ තාම බත් එක තියෙන මේ බත් එක තව මේ මොළේ මේ
Our correspondent reported that there was no diesel at any filling station in Badulla this morning. Petrol was distributed only at a few filling stations. Public transport services have been disrupted due to severe delays in the distribution of diesel. As a result, office workers and school children face severe difficulties.
Meanwhile, many views were exchanged in Parliament on houses that are to be given to parliamentarians.
Full cabinet papers up.
This cabinet paper says that on the 30th of May 2022, Minister Prasanna Rantunga had requested to provide houses for parliamentarians from the Viyatpura housing complex. This means that around 100 MPs are to be given houses. This has created an issue for all of us. If the issue lies with the MPs who had their houses torched, then a list should be made public to give them houses. MPs informed that the Madiwala housing complex is in a dilapidated state. A proposal was made for a housing complex. It was during this process that on the 9th of May that houses were torched by some people. This proposal is meant to provide temporary housing. This applies to all the MPs and not only those from our side.
Parliamentarian Party lead Shampika Ranawaka says he would support the positive aspects of the government.
In terms of the government, we will support reforms such as the 21st Amendment. In terms of the economy, if the government is in favour of the suggestions and plans we present, we will present them and support them. We will not put undue pressure on the Prime Minister. However, he must fulfil his duties and resolve these issues at the earliest possible time. Things like passing the 21st Amendment should be done by July. We must also remember that the people's protests haven't ended. It's just a break. Even though we are against some of the actions of the government, we will not interfere. We will give time and space for the government to do their job. We will, however, support the positive aspects.
Former Finance Minister Basil Rajapaksa says he has resigned from his parliamentary seat. Rajapaksa told reporters that he would be stepping out of the national list of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna. He says he made the decision to allow a suitable person to be appointed in parliament. The former finance minister says he would continue to remain in politics. Moving on, the demand for passports in Sri Lanka has gone up from April. On a regular day, the Department of Immigration and Emigration issues 2,500 passports under its one-day service. But the department says demand for passports have gone up since late April, making operations difficult. The department is planning to extend service hours from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. in the future. Divisional offices of the department are packed with crowds these days. Photographers for passport applicants say they have been affected due to the unusual demand and technical issues. Moving on, the Committee on Public Enterprises, or COPE, was informed that there were issues regarding the Colombo Lotus Tower project.
There are
issues in payments and contracts. We are still involved as consultants. However, we are owed around 100 million rupees.
වෙන්නේ ප්‍රොජෙක්ට් යුනිට් එකක් විදියට ගත්තාම එක එක පුද්ගලයන්ගේ නමටත් සමහර ප්‍රොජෙක්ට්ස් එනවා ඉතින් සභාවතුමා ඒ යුනිට් එකෙන් කරන්න දෙන්නේ නැහැ. දැන් මොට්ටු විශ්වවිද්‍යාලය
That is not allowed. At the University of Mogatua, it is supervised by me.
ඇයි එහෙම අරන් වෙන්න උනේ?
ඒක අරගන්න උනේ එක එක්කෙනා එළියෙන් ඉඳන් ඇකියුස් කරා.
There are allegations of delaying projects, and that is why it was moved under the Vice Chancellor.
Okay, ඒ හින්දා විශ්වවිද්‍යාලයේ උපකුලපති යටතේ දැන් තමයි කරන්නේ. දැන් මේ මයින් නිසා එක වෙනවා. නමුත් ඊළඟ උපකුලපතිතුමාම ආයි යුනිට් එක ෆෝම් වෙයිද කියලා ඒකට මේ ඩිරෙක්ටිව් එකක් දෙන්න වෙනවා.
ඔය කවුන්සිල් ඒවා ඒ රිෆ්ලෙක්ට් වෙන්නේ නැහනේ. ඒ කවුන්සිල් පෙන්නන්නේ නැහැ බැලන්ස් ෂීට් එකේ ඔක මේ
අපි කන්සල්ටන්සි වල එන්න තියෙනවා කියන්නේ මොකද ඒක අපේ ප්‍රධාන කාර්යයක් නෙවෙයිනේ. ඒ නිසා
නෑ නෑ බට් ඔබතුමාලා සර්විස් එකක් දීලා තියෙනවා නම් ඒකේ කොන්ට්‍රැක්ට් එකක් තියෙනවා නම් ඒකේ ලැබෙන්න ඕනේ නෑ කවුන්සිල් එන්න ඕනේ ඒක. ඔව්. එහෙම අයිඩෙන්ටිෆයි කරගන්න ක්‍රමයක් නැද්ද?
right. මේක වෙලා තියෙන්නේ මෙහෙමයි.
The architect had made an extra claim for the delay. This is outside the budget and we have requested for funds.
එතකොට මුලින් තිබ්බ බජට් එකෙන් එළියට මේක යනවා. අපි ඉල්ලලා තියෙනවා සල්ලි.
For many years, students of Galpothegama Vidyalaya in Anuradhapura have been affected by various issues. Today, Gamadha stepped in to provide them with a sense of hope.
About 67 students currently study at the Galpothegama Vidyalaya in Anuradhapura, which lacks many basic facilities. The absence of a fence around the school allows cattle and other animals to enter its premises. This has left children and teachers with no option but to spend a few hours cleaning the school. To provide them some relief, Gamadha took steps to construct a fence surrounding the school and to develop their playground. Mr. and Mrs. Shriyantha Senaratne are supporting the project.
We are in the small town of Galpothegama here in the Anuradhapura district. We are in a small school with a big problem. The students of this school have to spend a prolonged period of time before school starts every single day cleaning up the school premises. This is because cattle enters the school and pollutes the area. This is because the school does not have a protective fence around it. And we have now laid the foundation stone for a protective fence to be built around the school.
Another phase of the Divi Savya program to distribute dry rations among families in need was held in the Colombo district today. The program is sponsored by LOLC Holdings.
The Divi Savya program, sponsored by LOLC Holdings, entered its 30th day today. Two teams distributed dry rations among many Gram and Ladari divisions in the Colombo district. Today's program commenced from the Mayurapada Pirivana temple in Palavatha. The Divi Savya program aims at supporting low-income families amidst the economic crisis.
Now shifting your attention to news overseas, UN Chief Antonio Guterres says the consequences for the world of Russia's invasion of Ukraine are worsening.
The war's impact on food security, energy and finance is systemic, severe and speeding up. Food prices are at near record highs. Fertilizer prices have more than doubled, sounding an alarm everywhere. This year's food crisis is about lack of access. Next year's could be about lack of food. The World Food Programme estimates the ripple effects of the war could increase the number of people facing severe food insecurity by 47 million in 2022.
Well, with that, we wrap up this edition of Lunchtime News here on TV1. Details of these stories and much more will be available on our website www.newsfirst.lk. Thank you for watching. Have a very good day and take care.